So, what if we could actually redesign the world's entire operating system? Not just tweak it, but build something new from the ground up, something designed for abundance instead of scarcity. Well, that's the massive idea we're diving into today, a blueprint for a whole new reality, all built on the incredible life's work of the late Dr. Paul Goldstein. Okay, to really wrap our heads around this, we're going to break it down into 5 parts. First up, we'll look at the diagnosis of the global problem itself. Then we'll explore the architecture of the solution, the wild technology that makes it all run, the new kind of leadership it demands, and finally, the timeline for what the sources call the Great Shift. To really get the solution, you have to first understand the problem. And this whole story, it doesn't start with a piece of tech or a system. It starts with a person, Dr. Paul Goldstein. His profound life experiences led him to a diagnosis of what's fundamentally broken in our world. Yeah, this entire concept it's completely rooted in the legacy of Dr. Goldstein. As a survivor, he dedicated his life to digging into the source code of human conflict. He found what he called a fundamental bug in our collective programming. But, and this is so important, he also proved that our own internal operating systems, our human BIOS, can be healed and optimized, even after unimaginable trauma. And here it is. This is the diagnosis. Dr. Goldstein's research all pointed to this one thing, the pleasure/ego trap. You know what that is. It's that deep down drive for short-term gain, for control, for that feeling that there's never enough to go around. He argued this isn't just some personal weakness, it's the core algorithm driving our biggest systemic failures, from the economy to global conflicts. This slide just visualizes the result of that ego trap perfectly. The text here actually describes our current situation as a systemic failure, not a problem of resources. And you can see it in that top diagram. It's just a tangled, chaotic mess, right? People and resources are totally disconnected by this web of inefficiency. It's a system literally built for friction, not for flow. But then look at the bottom diagram, the solution. It's a clear, harmonious path. And that's exactly where we're headed. So if that's the problem, what's the fix? Let's get into the solution and see how this new architecture is designed from the ground up to untangle that mess and create a state of genuine flow and abundance. And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? The whole idea is to shift from that tangled mess of competition on the left to the coordinated, elegant flow you see on the right. The sources have a great way of describing this. It's moving from a mindset of Aikido, where you're always in conflict, using an opponent's energy against them, to one of Tai Chi, which is all about harmonious, powerful flow. This new reality is called the architecture of abundance. As the title here says, it's the response to the problem. And you can see it stands on 3 really powerful pillars. On the left, we have the triple helix ecosystem. In the middle, that's the intelligence core called Genie and Cupa. And on the right, you've got this totally new economic model, the consumer-to-asset engine. So let's break each one of these down. Okay, so the foundation of this entire system is just alignment. The triple helix model takes these 3 huge sectors that so often work against each other, industry, government, and academia, and it weaves them together. They're all given a single shared goal: create a stable, resource-based economy that actually serves everybody. With that foundation in place, let's pop the hood. What's the technology that actually powers this new architecture? What makes sure that everything flows where it needs to go? The sources use a really simple but powerful analogy to explain this intelligence core. The text here calls it the heart of intelligence. Just think of it like a car. You've got Genii, which is the engine providing all the power, and then you have Cupa, which is the GPS providing the direction. So Genii is the quantum engine. It's providing the raw horsepower for all logistics. But all that power is useless without precise guidance, right? Well, that's QIPA. It's the system's super advanced GPS. It's described as a prescriptive filter that is constantly analyzing every possible path to find the absolute fastest, safest, most efficient route for everything, from a food delivery to building brand new infrastructure. And the level of performance this system is designed for, it's just staggering. The goal is to hit 99% accuracy in resource management. The sources call this absolute truths. Just try to imagine a world where waste, logistical screw-ups, and shortages are basically eliminated. It's all about taking out the guesswork and the friction that define our systems today. So when you have technology that's this precise, it enables a really profound shift. We're not just talking about how we move stuff around anymore, we're talking about changing the very nature of power, of leadership and the whole purpose of an economy.
Yeah, this system basically requires a fundamental change in how we think about leadership. It's a move away from that traditional seat of power, the one driven by the ego trap of ownership and control, to a seat of service, where leadership is defined as being a steward for the collective good, guided by what people actually need.
So how do you actually keep leaders in that seat of service? Well, the answer is this protocol called the $1 sovereign vote. It's actually brilliant. Every dollar you spend is counted as a direct vote for what you value. This makes the collective will of the people the #1 data stream guiding all major corporate and global decisions. It turns consumer demand into direct democracy. And that voting system powers this amazing self-funding cycle called the consumer-to-asset engine. You can see it in this diagram. As the text explains, this is the economic engine that turns consumption into assets. So instead of your spending being siphoned off as profit, it gets converted directly back into shared, tangible assets, things like renewable energy or public infrastructure that generate even more prosperity for everyone. It's a closed loop of value creation, not extraction.
Now check this out. Profit isn't eliminated in this system, it's totally redefined. It's sanctified, basically, becoming a measurement of public gratitude, not private accumulation. And to enforce this, a powerful AI called the Genie Firewall acts as a safeguard. Any decision that gets flagged as extractive is automatically blocked and rerouted through what they call forgiveness and compassion algorithms to get it back in line with the collective good. And leaders, they don't just get to guess at this. They have to graduate from a specialized course to even participate in the system. Okay, and finally, the sources present this not as some distant utopia, but as an imminent transition. This is framed as a survival guide for a new era that is happening right now. So this timeline presents a pretty stark choice. It describes our current reality as being on the endless eve of World War III, a state of constant conflict that's fueled by a scarcity mindset. But then it pinpoints 2026 as the year of the Great Shift, the moment this new operating system is slated to go from a blueprint to the new global standard. And the key takeaway here is just a profound sense of urgency. The old way of doing things, that ego trap, is presented as biologically and economically unsustainable. The claim is that the bluff of that old system has been called, and this new operating system is already active and replacing it as we speak. So, this entire architecture, everything we've talked about, it leaves us with this one final provocative question. If leadership truly meant service, and profit was nothing more than a measure of public gratitude, what would you build?